Warm greetings to all. I am Mrs. Deepa, Nursing Tutor, Department of Fundamentals of Nursing, Faculty of Sri Balaji College of Nursing, Bombay, Chennai. My course name is Anatomy and Physiology. My topic is cerebrospinal fluid, composition, circulation, and its function. Let's see about the cerebrospinal fluid. Introduction. The cerebrospinal fluid, that is CSF, is a clear, colorless body fluid found within the tissue that surrounds the brain and spinal cord of all vertebrates. It replaces the body fluid found outside the cells of all bilateral animals. The normal CSF fluid will be clear, colorless and odorless fluid that is present surroundings of the brain and the spinal cord and the vertebrates of the spinal cord. Here, this is the image of CSF. We can see the human brain is covered with the skull. This is the lateral ventricles. This one is the third ventricle and this is fourth ventricle. Inside we can see the CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid inside the brain. It is also circulated in the spinal cord and the vertebrates. This is the cerebrospinal fluid system. Next, what are the compositions of the cerebrospinal fluid? It is composition. First one is water. The water is 99.13% and the other solids 0.87%. In solids is divided into two types. First one is organic substances and inorganic substances. In organic substances, first one is proteins, amino acids, sugar, cholesterol, urea, uric acid, creatinine, and lactic acid. In inorganic substances, sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, chlorides, phosphates, bicarbonates, and sulfates is there. And lymphocytes in CSF is 6 bar cubic millimeter. These are all the basic composition of the cerebrospinal fluid. Next, we can see biochemistry of cerebrospinal fluid. The CSF composition, the normal CSF will be clear, colorless and odorless. The normal CSF values will be seen according to the areas, appearance, pressure, cells, protein and miscellaneous. In area, we can see first one is lumbar. The CSF should be clear and colorless. Pressure should be 70 to 180. The cells 0 to 5% of lymphocytes and proteins should be less than 50 mg per deciliter. The other miscellaneous glucose should be 50 to 75 mg per deciliter. In ventricular, the CSF should be clear and colorless. The pressure should be 70 to 190. The lymphocytes 0 to 5. Proteins should be 5 to 15 mg per deciliter. These are all the biochemistry of cerebrospinal fluid. Next, the normal values of CSF. The normal values of CSF includes protein total 15 to 45 mg per deciliter, lactate to dehydrogenase 1/10 of serum level and lactate less than 35 mg per deciliter. Leukocytes, that is WBC, 0 to 5 milliliters in adults and children also. Up to 30 milliliters in newborns, 10 to and glucose normal to marked decreases, and protein level marked increases, and that is more than 250 mg per deciliter. WBC cells per milliliters, that is more than 500, usually more than 1000. These are all the normal values of cerebrospinal fluid. Next, we can see how it secretes. The CSF fluid secretes in the choroid plexus. Cerebrospinal fluid is produced by the specialized tissue called the choroid plexus. The choroid plexus are located in the wall of the lateral ventricles and in the roofs of the third and fourth ventricles. A choroid plexus shows numerous villi via which it secretes the cerebrospinal fluid. Structurally, each villus consists of three components: a layer of modified ependymal cells, that is choroid cells, which faces the lumen of the ventricles and secretes the CSF. The cells show many apical villus projections and are tightly bound to each other via tight junctions. A layer of pyometer telacordia, a fenestrated capillary directly beneath the pyometer. Here, the CSF is secreted in the specialized tissue called choroid plexus and also in third and fourth ventricles. Choroid cells take up of various chemicals from the underlying blood vessel, which they use to actively secrete the CSF. Thus, the CSF fluid is not simply an ultrafiltrate of blood, but differs from it in terms of its electrolytes, glucose, and protein content. The vascular source for the choroid plexus differs between the lateral third ventricle and the fourth ventricle. The anterior portions of the choroid plexus in the lateral and third ventricles are supplied by the anterior choroidal artery, a branch of the internal carotid artery, while their posterior parts are vascularized by the posterior lateral and medial choroidal arteries, branches of the posterior cerebral artery. The choroid plexus in the fourth ventricle is supplied by the inferior cerebellar arteries. Next, we can see blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier, besides being involved in CSF productions, the layer of choroid plexus from the selectively permeable barrier called blood-brain barrier. To recap from superficial to deep, the blood-brain barrier consists of choroidal ependymal cells and their tight junctions, pyometer, endothelial cells of capillaries, basal membrane of endothelial capillary cells. The function of the blood-brain barrier is to control the movement of water and solutes into the CSF, as well as from the CSF into the neural tissue. These are all the functions of the blood-brain barrier. The blood-CSF barrier is often confused for the blood-brain barrier, while in fact it is only a part of it. The blood-CSF barrier actually refers to the tight junctions between the choroid ependymal cells, which control the passage of molecules between the underlying capillaries and cerebrospinal fluid. If it were not for the tight junctions, example, blood CSF barrier, particles such as electrolytes and blood cells that can passes through the fenestrate of the capillaries would enter the CSF and therefore disturb the electrolytes and biochemical equilibrium of the blood. The barrier is functionally important for the opposite direction as well, from the CSF to the capillaries, as it prevents large molecules such as different kinds of drugs from freely entering the brain blood vessels. Next, circulation. The cerebrospinal fluid is constantly produced at the secretion rate of 0.2 to 0.7 ml per minute, meaning that there is 600 to 700 ml of newly produced CSF per day. Since the total volume of CSF averages around 150 to 270 ml, this means that the entire volume of CSF is replaced around 4 times per day. Next, the pathway of cerebrospinal fluid are as follows. The CSF passes from the lateral ventricle to the third ventricle through the interventricular foramen. From the third ventricle, CSF flows through the cerebral aqueduct of the fourth ventricle. From the fourth ventricle, some CSF flows through the narrow passage called opex and enters the central canal of the spinal cord. However, the majority of CSF passes through the apertures of the fourth ventricle, the median aperture and two lateral apertures. Via these openings, the CSF enters the cisterna magna and cerebellopontine cisterns respectively. From there, the CSF flows through the subarachnoid space of the brain and spinal cord. It is finally reabsorbed into the dural venous sinuses through arachnoid granulations. In the average adult human, there is roughly 150 ml of CSF circulating at any given moment. The ventricular portion amounts to roughly 17% of the total fluid volume, the rest of which lies in the cistern and subarachnoid spaces. Next, we can see the absorption. In absorption, there are three recognized routes through which CSF exits the subarachnoid space to enter the cerebral venous system. Arachnoid granulations, minute channels that passes through the cerebriform plate of ethmoid bones and the lymphatic system. Normal route of CSF from production to clearance is the following. From the choroid plexus, the CSF flows to the lateral ventricle, then to the interventricular foramen of Monro. The third ventricle, the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvis. The fourth ventricle, the two lateral foramina of Luxcott, and one medial foramen. Arachnoid granulations. In arachnoid granulations, the majority of the cerebrospinal fluid is absorbed into the venous system by the arachnoid granulations. The arachnoid granulations are the protrusions of the arachnoid matter that pierce the dura mater and protrude into lumina of the dural venous sinuses. The core of each granulation is continuous with the subarachnoid space, thus containing the cerebrospinal fluid. The surface of each arachnoid granulation contains smaller outpouchings called arachnoid villi that increase its absorption in surface. The CSF exists the subarachnoid space by diffusing through the walls of arachnoid granulations. The arachnoid granulations provides a valve mechanism for the flow of CSF, which allow the inflow of CSF into the bloodstream without permitting the backflow of blood into the CSF. Normally, the pressure of the CSF is higher than that of the venous system. So, CSF flows through the villi and granulations into the venous blood. The highest number of arachnoid granulations is found in the superior sagittal and transverse sinuses. Thus, these are the sites where most the CSF is absorbed. Next, we can see the lymphatic system. The third route is provided by the lymphatic system. It is recently discovered system of channels that is formed by the astroglial cells around the bile arteries. Its function is to provide an entrance route for the CSF in exchange for the interstitial fluid of the brain and spinal cord. This means that small amounts of CSF enters the nervous tissues, while the same amount of interstitial fluid exists into the subarachnoid space in order to be eliminated through the dural venous sinuses. Next, we can see the spinal cerebrospinal fluids. In central canal of spinal cord, the subarachnoid space of the spinal cord is continuous to that of the brain, so that the CSF that is produced in the brain ventricles easily reach the spinal cord as well. Let's recall how the CSF reaches the cavity of the spinal cord. It flows from the fourth ventricle into the central canal of the spinal cord through the apex. It passes through the median aperture and lateral apertures to enter the interpendicular and quadrigeminal subarachnoid systems. From here, it continues down through the subarachnoid space of the spinal cord. The spinal subarachnoid space is relatively large, accommodating about half of the total volume of CSF in the CNS. It extends from the foramen magnum and ends at the level of S2 vertebra. Below the conus medullaris, roughly at the level of L1 to L2, the subarachnoid space enlarges into a dural sac called lumbar cistern. The lumbar cistern extends from L1 to L2 and then S2. Vertebral levels, and it contains the dorsal and ventral roots of L2. For spinal nerves, it is clinically significant as it is site of lumbar puncture, extraction of CSF for medical analysis. Given that the spinal and cranial subarachnoid spaces are continuous, the spinal CSF flows back to the cranial subarachnoid space via which it is eliminated into the dural venous sinuses. Here, during the lumbar puncture means extraction of CSF fluid for medical analysis and for the diagnostic purposes from the L1 to L2. The functions of cerebrospinal fluid. First one, the CSF has many protective and metabolic functions. The CSF acts as a shock absorber by providing fluid buffer and thus protecting the brain from injury. It provides neutral buoyancy that prevents the brain from compressing the blood vessels and cranial nerves against the internal surface of the bones of the skull. It removes by-products of metabolism and plays an important role in the hemostasis and metabolism of the central venous system. Hemostasis implies the regulation of the distribution of substances, for example, electrolytes, between the cells of the brain and neuroendocrine factors. Slide. Changes in the pH or the composition of the CSF can disrupt temperature, blood pressure, control, and hormonal exchange in subarachnoid structures. The functions of CSF is act as fluid buffer, pushing the CNS against the injury, act as reservoir to regulate the contents of the cranium, may act as a medium of nutrient exchange in the central nervous system. However, brain carries out its metabolic exchanges directly with blood. Then it is used for the diagnostic purposes. Symptoms of CSF leakage. The most common symptoms of a spinal CSF leak are positional headache when feel worse when sitting upright and better when lying down, caused by intracranial hypotension. Then nausea and vomiting, neck pain or stiffness, changes in hearing. The hearing will be muffled, ringing in the ears. Then sense of imbalance. Next one is photophobia, sensitivity to light. These are all the common symptoms of cerebrospinal fluid leak. If it is there, you should immediately approach the doctor for the treatment. Next, we can see the CSF analysis. During the CSF analysis, the appearance of CSF should be normal. CSF will be clear, colorless, and odorless. If it is cloudy, CSF is due to infection when WBCs are more than 200 per cubic millimeter and hemorrhage when RBCs are more than 400 by cubic millimeter. Traumatic tear if there are high proteins in the CSF. Oily CSF is due to when there are radiographic contrast media in CSF. Yellow CSF is due to this is because of the raised level of bilirubin in jaundice. Next one, xanthochromic CSF is due to the color of centrifuged supernatant CSF is because of raised protein. Here we can see the normal CSF will be clear and colorless. Here we can see the CSF will be cloudy and protein contents will be there. That is xanthochromasia positive. This is the CSF appearance. This one is the normal and this one is the protein segments and cloudy of the CSF we can see. Next, in CSF analysis, we can identify the blood CSF is due to when RBCs count more than 600 cubic millimeter and is because of hemorrhage or traumatic death. The brown color of CSF is due to there is a presence of methoglobin. The pink color of CSF is due to there is presence of oxyhemoglobin. The orange color of CSF is due to this is because of the presence of keratone. Clotted CSF is due to the increased amount of fibrinogen, and this will be seen in traumatic death. This will be absent in subarachnoid hemorrhage. Next, the total cell count. The normal, the RBCs in adult should be 0. RBCs in the neonates variables. WBCs in adult, it should be less than 5 per cubic millimeter. WBCs in newborn, that should be 0 to 30 per cubic millimeter. When WBC is more than 1000 per cubic millimeter, this is due to bacterial or fungal infection. When WBCs in units more than 100 per cubic millimeter, this is due to the viral meningitis. When RBCs are more than 400 per cubic millimeter, this is due to the hemorrhage or traumatic death. In differential counts, adult normal is lymphocytes should be 40 to 80 percentages and monocytes should be 15 to 45 percentages and neutrophils 0 to 6 percentage. In newborn, the lymphocytes should be 5 to 35 percentages and the monocytes 50 to 90 percentages and the neutrophils 0 to 8 percentages. Abnormal CSF values. Increased neutrophils are due to bacterial meningitis, the early stage of tuberculosis, cerebral abscess, tumors. The increased lymphocytes are due to viral meningitis, tuberculous meningitis, multiple sclerosis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, chronic alcoholism, drug abuse, lymphoma, and leukemia. Increased monocyte are due to partial treatment of meningitis, tumors, chronic bacterial meningitis. Increased eosinophils are due to parasitic infection, fungal meningitis, medications, injection of dyes, allergic reaction to shampoo. Increased macrophagic cells are due to fungal meningitis, tuberculous meningitis, blood contamination after hemorrhage. The presence of tumor cells is due to infiltration by the metastatic carcinoma. The normal level is 15 to 45 mg per deciliter. The increased protein level is due to bacterial meningitis, viral meningitis, increased synthesis of immunoglobulins, trauma, cerebral hemorrhage, contamination by peripheral blood due to any obstruction. The decreased protein level is due to loss of fluid due to trauma, increased reabsorption with increased intracranial pressure. CSF glucose, the normal range is 50 to 80 mg per deciliter. Increased glucose level is due to in diabetic patients with hyperglycemia, traumatic puncture, contamination with peripheral blood. The decreased level of glucose is due to in the diabetic patient with hyperglycemia, meningitis, tumors in the inflammatory process. So far we discussed about the